Now, sailing over the sea was a sad ship of sacrifice. Now, on board this boat, get that boat up a little bit higher there. Thanks. On board this boat, let's rock with it, wait. Were the young men and women of Athens. They were being taken as tribute to the tyrant King Minos, the ruler of all that ancient realm. He was going to feed them to his pet monster, the Minotaur. But on board the boat this year was the young prince Theseus. He volunteered to go with his friends to fight the monster and free his people. And as they sailed, they could see coming into view the jagged mountain peaks of the evil island rising up out of the sea foam like hungry teeth gnawing at heaven. When they came to the island port, they were taken to the tyrant's court, to the hall of King Minos. And there he was with his crown on his brow, his robes about his shoulders, and his bodyguard at either hand. They had their swords drawn, ready to fight for their king. King Minos saw Theseus and said, "Ha, boy, you dare to become a hero at my expense? Well, I double dare you. Super sloppy double dare you. Don't meet my monster. He's hungry for heroes." and so Theseus and his friends were taken to the lair called the Labyrinth. Now, the Minotaur was not your ordinary run-of-the-mill monster. The Minotaur had the horned head of a bull, the body of a giant man, and went around eating people up. You know, he's not the kind of guy you want wandering freely around your town, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, they had to create an enclosure for the Minotaur to keep him trapped inside and to trap his victims. And so they had the ancient architect Daedalus design the labyrinth. Now, the labyrinth was a maze so amazing that if you entered into it, you were doomed to wander, confused by the corridors and the caverns that wound down into the underground. Once you entered into the labyrinth, you were lost until the monster found you and... So Theseus' friends were sent in and Theseus followed. He was about to enter into the labyrinth, though, when he met someone who wanted to help him. Now, all heroes need help. I need you guys to let go of the rope for me in a second. Thanks. All heroes need help sooner or later in their stories. This story's no different. For here now was a young lady. The lady of the labyrinth. The half-sister of the monster, the daughter of the tyrant king, and therefore princess of that place. Her name was Ariadne. There she stood. She had a crown about her brow, her braided hair cascading down. Now Ariadne saw Theseus. She longed to help him, but she knew there was nothing she could do to help him fight the monster. That was his task, after all. But should he survive the monster, he might never escape the maze unless she offered help. So Ariadne gave to Theseus... Remember this part of the story? What did she give to Theseus? A ball of yarn, a ball of thread, exactly. She gave him a ball or a spool of thread to unwind behind him as he made his way into the maze, so that if he survived, he could escape and find his way out. Now the ancient word for a ball or a spool of thread was clue, K-L-E-W. And it's from that word that we have our modern word, clue. For to be in the middle of a mystery without a clue is to be lost. Theseus took that gift from the lady, he tied it to the door of the labyrinth, and then began to unwind it behind him as he started on his dark and dangerous journey down into his destiny. The walls of the labyrinth rising high above him, twisting and turning as he made his way down all of the corridors, all the while letting out the thread, making his way, passing in frightening shadowy shapes, deeper and deeper down. Underground he made his way, the walls continuing to shift and confuse him as he turned each corner, becoming hopelessly lost, but hoping that he could find his way out if he followed that thread. At last, he came into the center of the labyrinth. And there, he came into the heart of darkness, the core of that kingdom. And there he thought and he felt what all heroes feel in this part of their stories. And he said, "What am I doing here? I'm a prince. I shouldn't have to put up with this. How come I always gotta be the one who fights the monsters anyway? How come it's always monster, 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 me? Why did there gotta be monsters in the world? What's wrong with the world that it has monsters in it?" He was scared. Hey, heroes get scared just like the rest of us. And you know something? Monsters love fear. The more frightened you are, the hungrier they get. And the Minotaur, sniffing out that hero's fear, started coming closer and closer, but Theseus said, "I better snap out of this. I got myself into this situation. I better face what comes at me and get myself out." It's good he thought that. For the monster came close and began to appear. Let's move over a little bit wider this way. Come on over this way to me too. Here, let's center this thing here so I can show you the Minotaur arising up from the dark before him, the body of a giant man and the horned head of a great bull. I'm going to eat you up. There came the monster. He lowered his head and made ready to charge, to gore the boy through with his horns. The Minotaur ran. But in the last instant, Theseus jumped out of the way, turned and jumped onto the monster's back, and held the monster's horns, gripped his neck with his legs, and the monster pulled free and began to crash around the room. But Theseus would not let go. He held on all the tighter as the monster rode, and at last the monster grew tired. And finally, with a twist of the monster's horns, he threw the Minotaur down dead. He'd won! But he was lost. Could he get out? Would he escape? Could he ever get away from the dark and back to the light and find his friends and find his home? Then he remembered the thread of the lake. There it was. He followed the thread and he found his friends. Come, quick, follow the thread. Get out of here. Get back to the boat. And so they escaped their prison, found their boat moored in the harbor, set sail, and slipped silently out to sea. That was a close call, huh? I didn't really like that ladder too much. It's kind of stinky here, you know? But as they sailed away for home, they looked behind them one last time, where they could still see the jagged mountain peaks of the evil island rising up from the sea foam like hungry teeth gnawing at the heavens. But as they sailed away for home, the island shrank from view. The sun rose on the day anew, and the nightmare at last was